29% of Earth's surface is land and 71% is ocean. The land surface is 71% habitable land. Of that habitable land, 46% is agriculture. Of that agricultural land, 77% is livestock, specifically meat and dairy, where 23% is crops. The global calorie supply is 18% from dairy and 82% from plant-based food, where the global protein supply is 37% meat and dairy. The other 63% is plant-based food. The geographical range stretches across the world. Pictured here is specifically the U.S. with Corn Belt region. In 2023, India, Brazil, and China accounted for roughly 64% of the world's cattle industry. The United States and European Union are fourth and fifth on this list.
It's an inescapable truth that the production of cattle at a global scale is directly linked with increased greenhouse gas emissions that lead to further global warming issues. The two major gases that come from cattle production are methane and carbon dioxide, whose concentrations in the atmosphere has increased by nearly 70% since 1950. A single cow manages to produce between 154 to 264 pounds of methane gas per year. Not counting for the emissions of any other livestock, 1.5 billion cattle worldwide, raised specifically for meat production, emit at least 231 billion pounds of methane into the atmosphere each year. The process of raising livestock for human consumption generates nearly 15% of global greenhouse gas emissions, which is greater than all transportation emissions combined. It also uses nearly 70% of agricultural land, contributing largely to deforestation, biodiversity loss, and water pollution. Though it's unlikely to happen, in the event of a rapid global phase-out of animal agriculture, there is the potential to stabilize greenhouse gas levels for 30 years and offset 68% of CO2 emissions this century.
Now that we have identified the consequences of industrial farming, we need to identify the actors in our problem. Of course, we know our main actor is going to be industrial farmers. However, we need to create an image of how big of an actor industrial farming is on a global scale. We refer back to our chart with ranking countries with the most cattle. This graph puts into perspective how globalized of an actor industrial farming is in our world. While the US being the fourth largest cattle population and India leading in first, it gives us a perspective of a very complex issue the world is facing. Furthermore, according to our worlddata.org, a concentrated animal feeding operation, CAFO, is considered home to be between 300 and 999 cows, is defined as a medium-sized CAFO. Our next actor is meat consumers. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, all fresh beef retail was valued at $7.3 billion in 2022.
Let's talk about the solution, plant-based meat alternatives. These alternatives are designed to mimic meat using plant-based ingredients, offering a sustainable and environmentally friendly option. According to a study from the IIASA, replacing 50% of meat and milk products with plant-based alternatives by 2050 can reduce agriculture and land use related greenhouse gas emissions by 31% and halt the degradation of forest and natural land. The first key aspect of our solution set is moral suasion, essentially educating consumers about the environmental impact of their food choices. As the WWF points out, our food choices can make a positive difference to people and nature, improving our own health, the health of others, and the health of the planet. But overdependence on select foods, a lack of diversity in our diets, and the continued consumption of unsustainably produced items have a harmful impact on nature. This is why raising awareness is crucial. Next, monitoring the transition to plant-based alternatives is vital. It's not just about shifting consumer preferences, but also ensuring the quality and environmental impact of these alternatives. The IIASA underscores the need for targeted production side policies to realize the full potential of dietary shifts. What this means is that there is a need to check on whether plant-based alternatives are actually lowering the greenhouse gas emissions emitted from industrial farming as a whole. Finally, incentivizing cooperation is about government action. Countries like Canada and Germany are already investing in plant-based protein sectors. Potentially effective mechanisms are subsidies for farms that are transitioning to plant-based alternatives, taxes for farms that do not transition, and funding for research and development. So, is this solution set effective? Yes, but with some caveats. Moral suasion raises awareness, but changing deep-seated dietary habits and supply chains is a lengthy process. Monitoring ensures the transition is responsible and sustainable, but requires extensive resources and coordination. Incentivizing cooperation through government support shows promise, especially in funding research and development, but faces political and economic challenges. In conclusion, it requires a multifaceted approach. With the right mix of awareness, oversight, and incentives, we can make a meaningful impact in reducing our environmental footprint.